shocker. Imagine my surprise. Just imagine my surprise when Uncle Casey found out that the WNBA is struggling to maintain their ratings without Caitlin Clark. To make matters worse, and this is something I have definitely noticed in the last 3 or 4 weeks, especially since the All-Star game,
the WNBA just felt a harsh jolt of reality, one that comes without Caitlin Clark. Ratings are dropping quicker than a team fumbling under Stephanie White's late-game plays. Just one groin injury, and now that historic growth buzz sounds more like a shaky ad pitch. The real question is, can this league hold strong without its brightest star, even for a few weeks? What's your take? When Clark's not on the court, do fans really show up for the others?
And that problem is Caitlin Clark not playing in WNBA games. Now, what all does this affect? The ratings are plummeting. Guys, there's ratings for a couple of these games that are eye-poppingly bad. We're talking about down in unrivaled territory.
So, here's how it was all supposed to work. The league had one golden ticket to drive massive TV numbers this year, Caitlin Clark going head-to-head with Angel Reese. That was the magic. That was the money. Chicago Sky versus Indiana Fever. No need for marketing whizzes huddled in boardrooms, this one wrote itself. Two of the biggest names in the game, sharing the spotlight on the same court, 5 times in one season.
Struggling to maintain interest. Now, in fairness to the dump, the ratings I'm about to share with you guys, they're not bad. Matter of fact, some of them are actually good, at least when compared to what this dump used to draw, which was nothing. But the reason I think the WNBA is in trouble has less to do with these ratings and more to do with what I think is coming.
The problem is, when you don't protect your stars, they don't stay on the court. Clark's been sidelined for a month and a day with a groin injury. Soft tissue, stuff that demands real healing time, not just tape it up and play. Reese, out too, for a week and a half. So this past Saturday, the WNBA's so-called golden matchup had neither of its golden ticket players in the lineup. And the result? OOF. Lowest ratings either team's seen since Caitlin Clark entered the league. Not just a dip, rock bottom. Couldn't even beat last year's numbers. That low. Gone from view, gone from mind. Let's look at the data, because it tells the full truth. First meeting this season? Massive. 2.7 million average viewers on ABC, with a 3.1 million peak. That's up 115% from last year's ABC season average. It was lightning in a bottle, Clark's foul drama, her triple-double, the Sky getting blown out, the headline-making investigation. It all came from that one game. The second meeting? Still strong, just not quite as electric. CBS primetime at 8 p.m. pulled 1.92 million. Still one of the most watched regular season WNBA games since 2001. At the time, it ranked 8th in over 2 decades. That's the impact of having both stars on the floor, or even just the promise of them. But then came the third meeting on ABC, and the slide got real. From 2.7 to 1.9, now down to 1.5 million. That's 1.2 million people saying, "Nah, I'm good," and walking away from round 3. And remember, I covered this when it happened. That 1.5 million average? Lowest for Fever versus Sky since last year's 1.53 million. And that was with Clark still playing. Now fast forward to this past Saturday. Same primetime slot. Same network. CBS. Same matchup. And they couldn't even break 1.4 million. Try 1.3, which means over 500,000 viewers said, "No Clark? I'll pass." So from May 22nd to August 10th, this marquee showdown has shed 1.4 million viewers. And that's not some minor seasonal wobble. In TV land, that's a free fall. Networks hate it. Advertisers hate it. And you better believe Kathy Engelbert hates it. Because here's the harsh truth. Without Clark, the Fever's national spotlight disappears. Fans aren't tuning in for Kelsey Mitchell's ISO sets. They're not clearing their Saturday night for Lexi Hull. And they're definitely not showing up to watch the officiating train wreck we get every game.
Regular season. And the craziest thing about this last groin injury with Caitlin Clark is how it's been covered. The day after she had the groin injury, she was listed as day-to-day. And then a couple weeks after that, then she was listed to being out indefinitely. Now, ESPN had August 12th as the circled return date for Caitlin Clark to get back onto the court. And just yesterday, she was listed as a game time decision for today's game against the Dallas Wings. And then after practice yesterday, Coach Stephanie White basically came out and said, like, no, Caitlin Clark hasn't even been practicing. So they changed it from a game time decision to her being out.
So, what happens next? The WNBA starts getting nervous, desperate, even. And then come the whispers, hey, Fever, think you can hint at a Caitlin Clark return? Just a tease. A little breadcrumb for the fans. Something, anything, to lift these ratings off the floor. It's right out of the PR desperation playbook. Keep the audience hanging on, hoping, without ever actually putting her back in the game.
Place, and I get it to a certain extent. The fans, the media does not need to know every little thing that's going on with Caitlin Clark's injuries, especially a star player like that. We will never know all the information, nor should we know all the information, and that's actually good for Caitlin. It protects her for when she does come back on the court. She can't be targeted. Teams can't use a certain injury or ailment against her if people don't really know what is going on. But the reporting of her timeline in general, there has been no rhyme or reason to what has been shared about it. To put her as a game time decision for today's game, and then Coach Stephanie White basically coming out and saying she has done no practicing with the team, that's crazy. And I brought it up in my video yesterday.
But here's the catch. Clark's injury isn't the kind you rush back from unless you're okay gambling with a chronic re-tear down the line.
Throw her back in the mix when all of these teams are at peak condition, and we already know what happens when Caitlin Clark gets back out on the court. Teams play defense on her differently. They play extra physical with her. There's all of these different factors that come into play. That's why I'm sort of leaning to the point of maybe Caitlin should be out for the rest of the season. Maybe this season is just done for her. Maybe it doesn't make sense for her to come back into the mix if the Fever aren't contenders. Are the Fever contenders at this point? I'm just not so sure. Do you risk another injury that can again compound and turn into something else down the line?
But here's the catch. Clark's injury isn't the kind you rush back from unless you're okay gambling with a chronic re-tear down the line. And you'd think a league that leans this hard on her for TV relevance would, actually protect her from the jump. But nope. This is what you get when you let the targeting go unchecked, when the whistles come and go, and the refs treat your biggest star like she's a walk-on rookie at a pickup game. And if you think this issue is just about Fever games, think again. Look at the numbers without Clark. Sun on Sunday, 180,000 viewers. Dream versus Mercury, 160,000. If growth was really as massive as the league and the Players Association want you to believe, those NBA TV numbers would clear 300,000 easily. Minimum 250,000. But they're not even breaking 200K without the Caitlin Clark stimulus package. And that's exactly what this is, a stimulus package for the entire league. When Clark plays, numbers soar. When she's out, they tank. And the league has hitched itself to her so tightly, the moment she's gone, they look totally exposed. And it's not like they couldn't see it coming. The red flags were waving since day one. You've got your most valuable player in terms of ratings and marketability taking harder hits than NFL wide receivers and getting fewer calls than a telemarketer on airplane mode. Landing space ignored. Arm grabs on drives. Ignored. Obvious contact at the rim. Play on. Now be honest, if Clark got the same whistle Paige Buchers gets, would she still be playing? I'd say yes. The Fever might even be a top 3 seed, and we wouldn't be watching a ratings freefall in mid-August. But here we are. The bubble might be popping. The owners see the graphs. And the drop-off. It's so steep you don't need an MBA to spot it. From 1 million peaks to 3 million viewers, and NBA TV games that can't even touch 200K. That's the trajectory, straight down, without the one player this league has to protect. And here's the twist, this isn't just about right now. Every week Clark is out, casual fans find something else to watch. The habit fades. And once it's gone, good luck getting it back. Especially when your fallback is a lineup of stars the average fan couldn't name if you spotted them both names and a jersey. The league's marketing, it's Clark, and everyone else. And that second half, it's not pulling viewers. And here's where it gets dangerous for the WNBA. TV networks don't do wait till she's healthy. ESPN, CBS, ABC, they're paying for consistency, not good when our star shows up. When they watch over 1 million fans disappear the minute Clark isn't in uniform, they start rethinking how many games they want next season. Because if you're an exec making those calls, you're not putting big dollars into a product that crumbles when one player sits. That's not sustainable. And it sure doesn't help when it's time to negotiate your next TV deal. The owners know it. The league knows it. And instead of solving the core issue, protecting the star holding everything up, they're out here tossing fake game time decisions around, hoping for a quick ratings fix. Let's call it what it is. We've all seen this move before. Game time decision in sports often means, we know they're out, but maybe you'll buy a ticket or tune in just in case. And yeah, it works once, maybe twice. After that, fans get wise. They stop believing. And nothing tanks your ratings faster than fans thinking the whole thing is just a con for clicks and attention. The problem for the WNBA is they've built almost everything this season around one hook, Caitlin Clark. The highlights, the promos, the primetime slots, the merch pushes, it's all her. But when that hook disappears, you're left with teams pulling in less than some high school boys' state championship games. And no, that's not a stretch. Some of those stream over 250K, locally. And then there's the league's favorite buzzword, growth. Oh, the growth. We've heard it all year. Biggest season ever. Record-breaking viewership. Merch flying off the shelves. But here's the truth, take Clark out of the picture, and that growth? It deflates faster than a balloon left in the sun. You can't call it league-wide growth when it's actually one-player growth. That's like claiming the 90s Bulls made basketball itself more popular. No, Jordan made it more popular. Huge difference. And here's the part the WNBA doesn't want to face, the long-term damage.
To not be thrown back into any mix if she doesn't have significant practices under her belt before she goes into game speed. You can try to simulate game speed as much as you want in practice. You will never be able to. Game speed is game speed. There's also a lot more adrenaline, all of these different things pumping when you're playing in front of a sold out crowd that the Indiana Fever do every single night. If I'm their coach, she needs to practice for at minimum a week. At the minimum, she needs to be doing everything in practice for at least a week before you throw her back in the mix. Now you're going to throw her back in the mix when all of these teams are at peak condition.
Let's say Clark's out another 2 weeks. That's 2 more weeks of primetime games falling flat. 2 more weeks where casual fans drift, pick up other sports, or just stop tuning in. You really think they all come rushing back the second she's cleared? Some will, yeah. But a chunk of them, gone. For good. And then we hit the playoffs. Oh, the playoffs will be telling, because if Clark's return doesn't instantly send ratings back to May levels, what's the excuse then? You can't say, we just need more time. No. If the whole season's been built around her, then her return should be a ratings goldmine. If it's not, that says something harsh about the league's so-called momentum. And let's not pretend we don't see the elephant in the room. The targeting. The officiating. The let's rough her up because no one's stopping us defense. This groin injury, it didn't happen in a vacuum. You don't limp around for weeks from a light bump. You get there by taking hit after hit and never getting the whistle that's supposed to protect you from that wear and tear. If Clark had been ref-fed like a true star from day one, we probably wouldn't even be talking about her missing games right now. She'd be gearing up for the next Fever Sky showdown. Ratings? Back over 2 million. And Kathy Engelbert would be beaming in front of every camera she could find. But instead, she's sitting on a product that's bleeding viewers, while the media openly mocks the league's historic growth narrative. And let's not forget Angel Reese being out doesn't help either. The league got lucky when the Clark-Reese rivalry lit a fire with fans, but they didn't protect either of them from the grind. Now both are sidelined, and what was once the league's marquee matchup is just two middle-of-the-pack teams missing their stars, drawing numbers so low, network execs are texting golf buddies instead of watching the second half. And that's the thing, without Clark, the Fever aren't just less marketable. Let's say Clark's out another 2 weeks. That's 2 more weeks of primetime games falling flat. 2 more weeks where casual fans drift, pick up other sports, or just stop tuning in. You really think they all come rushing back the second she's cleared? Some will, yeah. But a chunk of them? Gone. For good. And then we hit the playoffs. Oh, the playoffs will be telling, because if Clark's return doesn't instantly send ratings back to May levels, what's the excuse then? You can't say, we just need more time. No. If the whole season's been built around her, then her return should be a ratings goldmine. If it's not, that says something harsh about the league's so-called momentum. And let's not pretend we don't see the elephant in the room. The targeting. The officiating. The let's rough her up because no one's stopping us defense. This groin injury, it didn't happen in a vacuum. You don't limp around for weeks from a light bump. You get there by taking hit after hit and never getting the whistle that's supposed to protect you from that wear and tear. If Clark had been ref-fed like a true star from day one, we probably wouldn't even be talking about her missing games right now. She'd be gearing up for the next Fever Sky showdown. Ratings? Back over 2 million. And Kathy Engelbert would be beaming in front of every camera she could find. But instead, she's sitting on a product that's bleeding viewers, while the media openly mocks the league's historic growth narrative. And let's not forget Angel Reese being out doesn't help either. The league got lucky when the Clark-Reese rivalry lit a fire with fans, but they didn't protect either of them from the grind. Now both are sidelined, and what was once the league's marquee matchup is just two middle-of-the-pack teams missing their stars, drawing numbers so low, network execs are texting golf buddies instead of watching the second half. And that's the thing, without Clark, the Fever aren't just less marketable. They're less competitive. The offense falls apart, spacing breaks down, and defenses just focus on 1 or 2 options, no fear of Clark pulling up from 28 feet. That's not exciting basketball for casual fans. They're not tuning in to watch half-court sets stall or a turnover frenzy in the fourth quarter. So, what's the fix? Short term, you milk the possible return angle as long as you can without making fans hate you. Tease that she's close. Show her courtside, smiling and signing autographs. Drop just enough clips of her doing light drills to make fans think, maybe next game. That nets a quick bump. But long term, you either fix the officiating and protect your stars, or admit this league lives and dies on one player's availability. Because let's be honest, this historic growth they keep talking about is built on a fragile foundation. The second Clark's not out there, ratings drop like a rock. That's not growth. That's dependency. And any business totally reliant on one asset is a bad month away from panic mode. Look, the owners see the numbers. The networks see the numbers. The advertisers see the numbers. You don't have to be a basketball genius to know that if Clark's absence tanks your best matchup by over 1 million viewers, you've got a problem bigger than one injury. You've got a product that can't stand on its own. And here's the irony. The WNBA has great players, skilled, marketable players who could draw more eyes if the league actually pushed them. But they don't get the spotlight. No marketing machine behind them. So when Clark's out, there's no backup plan. No second wave of stars keeping casual fans hooked. It's Caitlin Clark or bust. And right now, without her, it's bust. One player's injury just exposed the league's entire business model, and the numbers don't lie. If they don't fix this dependency, networks and fans will move on faster than you can say growth. So, what's your call? Can the league survive without Clark, or is this the start of a collapse? Hit like, drop your take, and subscribe.